Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive astrophysical whodunit. We are going to look at one of the strangest, most stubborn puzzles in the entire universe. Why do giant, vibrant galaxies suddenly stop forming new stars and just die? It's a mystery that has honestly kept some of the smartest people on the planet arguing for over 2 decades now. So, let's break down exactly what we know. To keep things on track, let's lay out our suspect board really quickly. We'll start with the cosmic death mystery itself, then we'll look at inside jobs and black holes, explore the effects of bad cosmic neighborhoods, uncover some really surprising plot twists, and finally, we'll look at the ultimate fate of our very own Milky Way. All right, Section 1, the cosmic death mystery, setting the scene. Before we can investigate the death of a galaxy, we've got to understand the victims. Astronomers actually divide galaxies into 2 great tribes. You've got the living, actively star-forming blue cloud, and then you have the dead, red sequence. When you plot hundreds of thousands of galaxies out, they don't just spread out evenly. They cluster tightly into these 2 sharply defined camps, and they're separated by a nearly empty transition zone that we call the Green Valley. Now, the fact that this valley is almost empty tells us something profound. It means whatever kills a galaxy has to happen pretty fast on a cosmic scale. So, the crucial concept we're trying to figure out here is called quenching. This is the physical mechanism that basically turns off the oven. And here's the craziest part about all of this. Many of these dead galaxies actually still have all the raw ingredients to make stars. They have these enormous reservoirs of cold gas, yet it just sits there, totally inert. The big question is, why? Well, for a galaxy to quench, one of 4 fundamental physical things has to happen to its cold gas supply. First is removal, where the gas is just physically blown away. Second is heating, meaning the gas gets heated to extreme temperatures, like a freezer stuck on 200 degrees, so it can't condense. Third is starvation, where the pipeline of fresh cosmic gas is severed and the galaxy slowly just uses up its remaining fuel. Or fourth, stabilization, where the gas remains cold and plentiful, but the internal gravity and dynamics of the galaxy change so it simply cannot collapse. Keep these 4 buckets in mind, because every single suspect we're going to look at falls into one of them. Moving right along to Section 2, inside jobs and black holes. This is how galaxies destroy themselves from within. Let's check out our first set of suspects and see how a massive galaxy might orchestrate an inside job to destroy itself entirely without any outside help. What's really wild is that a galaxy's own structural shape can actually stabilize its gas without removing a single molecule. We call this morphological quenching. As the galaxy grows this dense central bulge of stars, that bulge acts like a massive stabilizing gyroscope for the entire gas disk. It increases what scientists call the tumor stability parameter. Basically, it stirs the gas up just enough, adding extra orbital energy, so gravity just cannot force the gas to fragment and collapse into stars. It perfectly explains why some dead galaxies still have tons of cold gas lying around. But if we're talking about the prime internal suspect for the most massive galaxies, we absolutely have to talk about supermassive black holes. They act as this devastating galactic thermostat through what we call AGN feedback, and they operate in 2 distinct modes. First up is the quasar mode. This is where a rapidly feeding black hole blasts out intense thermal radiation, physically expelling gas out of the galaxy like a hurricane. Then we have the radio mode, or kinetic mode. Here, a slowly feeding black hole shoots narrow jets of relativistic particles out into the galaxy's hot gas halo. This continuously reheats the gas, which totally stops it from cooling down and raining back onto the galaxy to form new stars. Which brings us to Section 3, bad cosmic neighborhoods, or when your environment kills you. Let's step outside the galaxy for a second to examine some external suspects. Because sometimes, just being in a crowded cosmic cluster is a fatal mistake. When galaxies fall into dense cluster environments, swimming through superheated plasma alongside thousands of other galaxies, they face some seriously brutal external forces. The most dramatic one is ram pressure stripping. It's literally like sticking your hand out the window of a speeding car, but the wind is million-degree plasma that violently peels away a galaxy's cold gas. It creates these breathtaking jellyfish galaxies with long trailing tentacles of strict gas. Then there's galaxy harassment, which is basically repeated, high-speed gravitational jolts from neighbors that disturb the disk. And finally, strangulation, where the surrounding halo of fresh gas is severed, slowly starving the galaxy to death over billions of years. Scientists have discovered that these 2 factors, a galaxy's own mass, representing those internal mechanisms, and its local environmental density, representing the external ones, They act like two completely independent knobs on a cosmic dashboard. This is a huge landmark framework in astrophysics. Your chance of quenching goes up the heavier you are, regardless of where you live, and your chance of quenching goes up the worse your neighborhood is, regardless of how heavy you are. It's two separate paths that lead to the exact same galactic death. Okay, Section 4. Surprising cosmic plot twists. We're talking telescope shocks and galactic resurrections. Because hey, no good detective story is complete without a major plot twist, right? Modern astronomical data has recently completely shattered a few of our long-held assumptions. For decades, we blamed violent galaxy collisions for quenching. The classic theory was that mergers triggered massive starbursts, fed the black hole, and then blew all the gas away. But recent data from the massive Illustris TNG supercomputer simulation shows that only about 12% of all mergers actually lead to quenching within a billion years. It turns out mergers are rarely the sole trigger for rapid galactic death. Sure, they contribute by building up that dense central bulge we talked about earlier, but they aren't the universal executioner we once thought they were. And this brings us to an even bigger mystery: 700 million years. That's how old the universe was when the James Webb Space Telescope recently spotted entirely dead galaxies. And this was a massive shock to the astronomical community. The JWST timeline is deeply, deeply troubling for our current physics models. Before JWST, we expected the early universe to be exclusively populated by chaotic, actively star-forming galaxies, because there simply hadn't been enough time to build up massive galaxies and then quench them. Yet, there they are. It means whatever killed these early galaxies operated with a terrifying speed and efficiency that our simulations currently just underpredict. We are quite literally rewriting the rules of the early universe as we speak. And in another completely bizarre twist, it turns out death isn't always permanent. Some quenched, red and dead galaxies manage to reacquire a fresh supply of cold gas, maybe from a minor merger or a cooling gas halo, and they actually resurrect themselves. They temporarily reignite star formation, coming back to life as what astronomers jokingly call zombie galaxies. Research shows a recently quenched galaxy might actually have a 25% chance of rejuvenating within a billion years. All right, let's bring it home with Section 5, the Milky Way's fate, the victim next door. Bringing this entire investigation back to our own solar system's backyard, it begs the ultimate question for us here on Earth. As we look at all these distant cosmic deaths, are we currently living inside a dying system right now without even realizing it? Well, the answer is kind of nuanced but fascinating. The good news? We are still comfortably in the star-forming blue cloud. We're making about 1 to 2 suns worth of new stars every single year in our inner regions. But astronomers have detected that the outer edges of our galactic disk have already completely stopped forming stars. The disk is thinning out into gas-poor space. This inside active, outside dead structure is a classic early warning sign. It essentially means our Milky Way has already begun the long, gradual process of quenching. But don't panic just yet. This is a really, really slow fade. Over the next few billion years, we'll undergo a gradual decline. But about 4 to 5 billion years from now, our fate is pretty much sealed. We are going to experience a dramatic collision with the Andromeda Galaxy. This massive merger will likely trigger one final, spectacular burst of star formation before our newly combined system, sometimes nicknamed Milkometa, settles into a permanently dead red elliptical galaxy, joining the red sequence for good. And all of this leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought. Trillions of years into the distant future, long, long after our sun is gone, the very last highly efficient red dwarf stars in our dead galaxy will finally burn through their remaining fuel. When the very last star finally goes out and the star-making machinery of the cosmos has been completely, permanently quenched, what happens to the universe then? It's a humbling reminder that by studying the death of galaxies today, we are quite literally looking at the ultimate fate of everything. Thanks so much for exploring this cosmic mystery with me. Keep looking up and keep questioning.